Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining this webinar. We're just going to take 5 minutes just to let everybody come in and get their internet connection set up. So please bear with us and we'll start in 5 minutes. Thank you for attending. Good afternoon, everybody. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes just to see if more people can come and get online. We'll just wait 2 more minutes and then we'll start the webinar. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this webinar. And please introduce Afsal Kotal from Phoenix Technology, who will take you take you through the beginning of this. You're on mute, Afzal.
Thank you very much, Martin. Good morning, everyone. I'm Afzal Kotal here from Phoenix Color Technologies. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to the series of knowledge transfer webinars that we are jointly organizing with our partners, Ms. X Rite Pantone. We are also happy to see quite a good number of registrations for our webinars. We used to do these webinars prior to the pandemic in Dubai every quarter with live interactive sessions. I'm sure many of you know about it. And in order not to stop this initiative by X Rite and us, we are doing this using the web. We had planned 4 webinars in this quarter. One was for understanding how to use your exact spectrophotometer to its optimal capabilities. We did this a few weeks back. We have the recordings. If you have not been able to attend this, we can share with you. You can contact us on this. Today's session is about how to prepare spot color inks using X Rite's world-leading X Rite InkFormulation Software, and also drawdown kits from IGT or HUB or RK. This software will help you to ensure the colors are within the tolerance before taking the inks to the printing press, whether it's for flexo, offset, or for gravure. The next 2 webinars we'll be conducting for your information will be on X Rite scanning solutions and how it can be utilized to speed up or optimize your measurement functions in the press room and QC, etc., using the scan solutions. And the last one will be on how to print for brand owners as per the expectations. The dates of these are available on our website or below in the slide. You can see the next one is on 15th, which is on color control using the scanning solutions, and the last one on 29th, which will be for printing for the big brand owners. Now I'm handing over to Mr. Martin Hill, who's our regional sales manager, to speak about our partnership and further plans. Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Afzal, and good morning, everybody. I just want to speak a little bit about the webinar that we're doing today, and I'll tell you a little bit about the history of X Rite and Phoenix. So today there's myself, there's Afzal, and there's also Pramod Haridasan, who is the technical expert who's going to run us through a practical part of it. And we've also got Margot from X Rite, who's helping us backstage and put on this webinar. So thank you, Margot. So we're going to start with me. I'm just going to do a little introduction about the history with X Rite Phoenix. Afzal is then going to take you through. Can you just go back on, Margot, please? And Afzal is then going to take you through a theoretical part just to highlight some of the functions of the software. Then Pramod will take you through a practical session where we'll actually look at the software, and then at the end we'll have some time if we've got for questions. Can we please ask for questions that you use the chat function in the side of your panels at the top right hand side? Just type your questions into there. If we get a chance, we'll answer them all at the end. If we don't, then Afzal and the team will follow up for all of them at the end. Next slide, please, Margot. So for more than 10 years now, Phoenix and X Rite have had a long history of successful cooperation in the region. This success is built on X Rite's superior products in the colour industry, combined with the sales and technical excellence of the Phoenix team. Phoenix are the exclusive distributor for the complete range of X Rite products in the region. So with this unique feature, Phoenix are best placed to validate your current workflows and propose solutions that achieve maximum value for you. This is not just a box shifting exercise. This is where Phoenix excel at coming to look at your current setup and advise to take you through and get better solutions. Now, as Afzal said, last year, COVID changed the world and how we do business. And for this reason, we've adopted this webinar approach, which we also call distance education. And through this, we can now respect the health of our customers and our staff. Thank you very much for participating. I do appreciate you taking the time to come and speak with us. And I'll pass you over to Afzal now to take you through the practical, the theoretical part of the software. Thank you. Afzal.
Thank you very much for the kind words and the introduction. So as Martin said, I will be taking care of the explanation part of what are the features and benefits and ROI of the software. I hope you all can hear us clearly. If you have any difficulty in hearing through the system, please send us a chat. We can try to help you as well. InkFormulation Software is basically a world leader in formulation, whether it is for offset, flexo, or gravure. Most of the major converters and ink manufacturers do use InkFormulation software from X Rite. It helps you to accurately, quickly, and consistently formulate spot color inks in your own ink kitchen by the help of the software, and removing the trial and error manual method, which is more costly and can cause time and material loss in your printing operations. Next slide, Margot. There are many advantages to IFS software, but if you're a small print converter or medium-sized converter or a large converter or an ink formulation, ink manufacturing company, it works basically with the help of a formulation software from X Rite called the InkFormulation Software. You will need an X Rite spectrophotometer and a drawdown kit and a weighing balance in principle to implement this solution in your ink kitchen. Margot, the next slide. I would like to explain the workflow by way of this diagram. The InkFormulation software, as I said, has 3 or 4 main components: the spectrophotometer, which you can see on the left side, the exact spectrophotometer. You need that. You need the InkFormulation software, which you can see in the center on top. You need the drawdown kit, which is next to the InkFormulation software, and you need a nice weighing balance at least, and a mixing small mixer in your ink kitchen to implement this. How it starts is basically you get a sample in way of a printed material, or you can accept the data for your target color by way of a LAB value or a CXF value, or you can choose the colors from the Pantone Live library or the Pantone standard libraries as well from the software. So once you get your sample, which is your target sample, what you can do is you can measure it with a spectrophotometer. The spectrophotometer is connected to the software via to the software which is on the computer via Bluetooth or through a cable. This measured data will go to the formulation software, and the formulation software has the color in database or the ink database inside. It creates recipes in a matter of few seconds with multiple options: recipe 1, recipe 2, recipe 3, like that. And then from there you can choose the recipe. You can mix the inks based on the recipe given, whether it's for offset of liquid inks or offset inks. You mix it, you make a drawdown with a drawdown kit. You measure, you make the drawdown on the actual substrate on which you're going to print on, measure the drawdown, and with the spectrophotometer, this data goes back to the software and it tells you whether you're within the delta E tolerance or not. If you're not within the tolerance, the software will also assist you by giving you a correction recipe. Once you do the correction by adding one of the components or 2 of the components, you do once more the drawdown, you measure it, and you're normally 95% of the cases you're within the tolerance. This helps you. This is basically how it works. And once the recipe is finalized, where you're making a recipe with almost very small quantity, unlike when you're doing it manually, it can be a 10-gram recipe. The recipe can be based on a 10-gram volume, and then you can put your total quantity required, and the software will give you the recipe for the bigger quantity. You can also send this information via our interface module, integration module, to the ink dispensing system if you wish as well. Margot, the next slide. Now I would like to explain you the different versions. As most of you who are attending this session is converters of medium or large size, and we are presenting to you here the versions which are suitable for you. We have the InkFormulation Printer Pro version, the manufacturer version, and the InkFormulation Online version. In the Printer Pro version, you can easily and quickly formulate custom inks. You can import and work with color and databases supplied by your ink manufacturer. you cannot create your own colorant database, because that is the limitation with the InkFormulation Printer Pro. But with InkFormulation Printer Pro, you can also manage your leftover ink. So the main limitation of Printer Pro, I would say, is that you cannot create your own colorant database. But most of the ink suppliers do provide you with an ink colorant database, which is the background of the InkFormulation software. If they are not able to give it, we in Phoenix can help you to create those ink colorant databases. The second option is the manufacturer version. If you're a big converter or you want to make your own colorant database, you can use the manufacturer version. Other features of Printer Pro are included in this. Plus, you can also build and maintain a complete colorant database featuring all the inks you use. The third version is the Formulation Online version, which is more suitable for companies who are having multiple sites, or you're a big ink manufacturer where you have more than 20 users. Then you can go for the InkFormulation Online to make it more cost effective. The next slide, Margot. In the coming days, you will see a lot of discussions about CXF files, like you hear about Delta E and LAB. CXF is basically the color exchange format, which is developed by X Rite and some industry leaders. This helps you to communicate colors easily across the supply chain without the need of any physical samples. And the CXF file can carry most of the important data required to explain to the other party what this color means. It is easy. In the software, you can accept the CXF data from the brand owner. Like if you're working for P&G or McDonald's, they will normally provide you with the CXF data to import to your in-house quality systems, as well as spectrophotometers and your InkFormulation software. If you have any further queries about CXF, we can explain you in a separate session personally with you. So this helps, CXF helps you to improve your overall lead times as well. The next slide basically talks about InkFormulation software has already got all the Pantone version 4 coated and uncoated references, as well as the latest pastels and neon ranges included inside the software. So you can choose those colors from the library available, or you can also integrate it with the Pantone Live and choose the libraries based on the specific substrate, ink type, and printing process type. And if you have any queries regarding Pantone Live or something, we can also explain you separately in a session. We have that coming up also in one of our next webinars. Next slide, please, Margot. The InkFormulation software, as I said in the beginning, once you measure your target color, let it be a red or a green, the software, once you choose the material once you measure the material you're going to print on, once you tell the analogs that you're going to use, and once you ask the software, tell the software which are the components required to be considered in this particular color formulation, the software will give you, like you can see in the slide, in the small window below, it gives you multiple choices of options for that particular color. It is not one option like when you do a manual method. And this recipe display will show you which is the minimum delta E achieved recipe, what is the metamerism index of that particular recipe, what is the number of components included in that recipe, and what is the cost per kg for making this particular recipe, because in IFS you have the option to import your stock prices, each ink component prices. So this is also very useful for you to decide which combination to use based on your customer's type. The next slide, Margot, please. Once you formulate, you have these numerical displays, plus you can have the display in graphical method, where you can see how these colors will react in various conditions, like how it will react in different lighting conditions in D50, in D65, or in TL, etc. And then you can see over a C-Lab color space how it will be closer to the target, etc. This will be explained in our practical session more in detail by Mr. Pramod. The next slide. We have a very useful tool when it comes to Flexo, for example, because you can also use the same method for offset and gravure. We can explain you in detail later, but what it does is basically you have multiple analogs You don't use the same analogs for all the spot colors. So you have a range for the reds, for the greens and the blues and the lighter tones. So what you can do is you can print these, print certain colors, which we will tell you on the press with those analogs. You can measure the data back to the software for us to basically correlate your analogs volume effect on the ink laydown. So this will be used while formulating the ink. So you can name, you can measure these, and the software will calculate and keep the information. So when you're choosing the next recipe, you can say which analogs you're going to use, and the analogs will have a particular name, like 500 plus which supplier, which LPI, etc. in the name. You can choose that, and you can use that for formulating. So the software makes a recipe which is more closer to the press output. We will show you this a little bit in our practical presentation as well. The next slide, I'll go. The software has the full correction function where you can do the corrections in the ink lab for the small volume, and also you can bring back the press printed sample. Sometimes, most of the time, you're within the tolerance from the lab output itself, but sometimes you can be a little bit away. Let's say your analogs is not in proper condition, it's got a little clogged, or the width has reduced because of wear and tear. Then you can bring back the printed sample, measure it, and you can get a new correction factor, apply the correction to your ink in the press, and then you can set that as your new formulation for this color based on your analogs and the press and the substrate. The next slide, Margot. Yes, this is one of the very useful feature when it comes to the return of investment. If you go to your ink room today, you might see a good volume of inks which are leftovers from the previous few months. And at the end of the year, you possibly might have to lose some inks, waste it, or you can mix it and make it a black or something. But with IFS, the primary function of IFS is it helps you to make only the quantity that you require for the job. But when you buy from outside the spot colors, you will have to buy what they say. They will say 25 is my minimum kg that you can supply. But when you have IFS, you can make 2 kgs of 2 liters or 1 liter or 5 kgs or whatever you want. That itself will reduce your leftover. On top of it, if you have any leftover, you can measure those leftovers back into the software as a component, and this will be considered in your new formulations. That means your leftovers will be reduced to a considerable amount, and you will save from within your operations. Malgo, the next, please. You can also, as I said, the software can be used for dispensing, where we have an integration module where we can integrate the software's output to the dispensing systems. And we can also do a batch dispensing. That means if you have a completely automated dispensing system, the software can give one by one the formulations, and the dispensing system can dispense it over the night, or it can. The software has the capability of making recipes for hundreds of colors over by batch dispensing function. This is useful if you have large volumes or large number of colors to be produced, or if you're an ink manufacturer. The next slide, please. The InkFormulation software has a seamless integration with quality control softwares like the ColorCert or the Color IQC print. This helps the ink room and the QC department, etc., to quickly compare their formulations to a digital color reference stored in a Pantone Live ecosystem. This also will be covered in our next webinar, but I'm just giving you an idea that InkFormulation can be integrated with this QC softwares. You can check the pass-fail analysis. You can take this data also from the InkFormulation software and load it via the ink room tool to the scorecard server to identify how well a press has run, achieved, or whether it has achieved the print specification over a period or on a particular day, or based on operators, etc. Improve performance on press correction, reformulation data immediately sent to the InkFormulation software. That means if there is a correction in the press room, you can send it back to the InkFormulation software, and the software knows there's been a correction to what the ink lab has made, and that will be kept as the final version. The ink room can make appropriate adjustments and dispense the new formula, speeding up the correction process on the press as well. So it can not only integrate with the dispensing, it's a two-way communication between the ink formulation and the dispensing system, because dispensing systems also has small softwares which can take the data back to the IFS as well. The software has the capability for integrating with an MIS software if you have, or an ERP software, because it's very important for you to know, because when you're talking about spot colors, you have so many different spot colors with different series. And then if whenever you make a formulation, the software has information how much of each component was made, and this information can be passed on to your ERP software, and the ERP software can find out for which job which color was made and what were the components used, and this will help you to manage your stock to a very in a very professional way. This integration will be recommended if you have an MIS in your workflow. The next slide. Margot. The key benefits, once more, of ink formulation software is basically you can make fast, accurate, and consistent ink formulation. Unlike when you do it manually, because you mix it, you find a problem, then you might have to restart the whole formulation with a new set of colors, or you formulate, or you keep it away. Those things are completely eliminated when you have an ink formulation software. Every time you make the inks with accuracy. There is no room for trial and error when you have an ink formulation software. You have the flexibility of substrates. That means if you have different kinds of substrates from the supplier, last time he gave a little yellowish, now he gave a little more opaque, whatever it is, the software can be measuring these and adapt the new recipe based on the new substrate which you've got in your press flow. It has the leftover management, as I explained. It helps you to reduce your leftovers. It has got recipe management. It has got batch formulation. It has got the basic material module, which will help you when you're mixing for flexo and gravure, because you have other components, that, not just the inks and the transparent white. There are other components involved that can be added into the software. We have the film thickness calibration to understand whether it's for analogs or offset or gravure. Film thickness calibration, which I explained to you earlier. And a direct access to Pantone Live integrated, because all the brands are moving into a Pantone Live and ColorCert based workflow, so it is also integratable to these systems. In short, the software is a very simple to use kit. You can train your team within a day or two. We have done many implementations. Customers are very happy with the output and the ROI. You just measure the color sample. You measure your film or the paper substrate which you want to print on. Choose the components of the base colors which you want to consider in this. If you don't have stock, you don't consider that. Or if you have a color which is very expensive like violets, don't consider this formulation. And then you click the button, the software will give you multiple recipes with a minimum closest match in delta E and the cost and the metamerism index. The ROI I would like to close with an ROI calculation and explanation. The ROI from the software is basically, if you have two presses, whether it's flex or offset, you basically will get the money back from the ink formulation software within 6 to 9 months. That's our practical experience from our customers. And after that, you continue with savings, because you're saving from leftover, you're saving from not stopping the press because the spot colors were not matching to the expected colors in the press. That means you save your press time, your materials, etc. We can explain you in detail about ROI, or we can give you the ROI sheet and explain you how you can put your own ink consumption details and your cost and your machine stoppages and your leftover information to get the ROI and show it to your management. I would say this is a must-have for any professional packaging converter. Next slide, Margot. I think, yeah, I think we are done. I would like to move it to Mr. Pramod to start the practical presentation. Pramod, over to you, because we are short of time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. Thank you, Afzal. Thank you, Martin, for the introduction and the theory session. So I will take you all through the practical session. Hope everyone can see my screen. If any issue with the display, let me know. Just Just you can type a message over the chat window. So here I have my software, X Rite InkFormulation Software. So the version of my is manufacturer, X Rite InkFormulation manufacturer version. So this, using this version, as Afzal told, we can edit, we can create a color database. So first of all, when you start with the software, you have to connect your device. So to connect the device, we have an option here. Click on this switch. Here you can select the device model. There are a lot of designs here. If you have XAT or SpectroI or SP or CI devices, you can select those devices. I have my XAT at the moment. So I've selected XAT. So either you can connect with USB, or if your device is capable of Bluetooth, you can select Bluetooth as a connection method. So just simply search, it will connect. So once you made the connection, you can see a tick mark over the device symbol. This is indicating your device is ready to measure the samples and the substrates. So before proceeding the formulation, first thing we have to select the ink database. So most of the clients are asking what is ink database, or it is just a spectral data of the ink which you are using. Normally, all the major brands of ink suppliers having this database. If we work with, we are working with many of the brands. All of them having this database, and all of them are giving this free of cost as well. So here I have few database, offset coated and flexo water based. So I will start with offset coated. I will come to flexo as well. So I'm selecting the offset coated database. Let's select the database. Now we can see the selected database, offset coated. Now next step is we have to define the target. So go to the formulation button. So this is the formulation button. Just click on formulation button. You can see there are a couple of options to select the target color. So we can define the target color either by measure or by color libraries or from the Pantone Live, or if you have a LAB value, you can directly enter the LAB value. So, and the other important thing is CXF. All the major brands are working now with the CXF. It is called color exchange format. Brands like P&G and McDonald's, everyone is sharing CXF file. So if you are using a CXF file, you don't want to use you don't want to share a printed sample with the ink manufacturer or with to your ink room. You can directly share the CXF file. So if it is a CX file, you can just simply browse it from your computer and you can select. So at present, I'm taking a color from Pantone Live. So these all are the free libraries available in the Pantone Live, all V4 version. This is called master palettes. If you want dependent palettes like gravure ink, gravure colors, or flexo or recycled boards, you can that you can purchase. So here these master palettes are free. I'm selecting solid coated V4 library. So from this, it is loaded with all the colors. I'm selecting a Pantone number. Selected Pantone 1505 is my target. So it is asking that your surface you measured is coated or uncoated. So it's coated. Here, this window is very important when you are formulating a color. It is indicating the type of material which you are going to print, the type of substrate which you are going to print. Here you can either you can measure the substrate, if it is a coated or uncoated, transparent film, opaque film. Based on this, the calculation will be different. When you refer a Pantone book, you will get only the recipe based on coated and with the Pantone inks, not with your inks. So when it comes to InkFormulation software, it is considering material and your ink database. So, or you can add the colors into the database, substrate into the database. So I have a couple of substrates in my database, coated footboard or overprint substrate, etc. So here you can select the substrate. If I select coated, I can see the LAB value of my substrate. So many of the case I saw some examples like we have some overprint colors. Overprint colors are critical in the production team to mix. So you want to print and you want to correct on the machine. So if you are adding overprint substrate to the database, it will calculate based on the substrate. For example, my substrate is printed with an yellow of this LAB value. I'm formulating, I'm outprinting 1505 over that. So it will calculate based on this LAB value. So it's a very good feature of IFS because it's based on spectral data. So it will take these values into account. So now I'm selecting coated. Click next. Just simply click next. So in this window, you can select the inks what you have in stock. If you don't have one ink in stock, just click and double tap. It will go to the other window. So only this become selected. And here you can utilize your leftover. See, you can see here my leftover. I have some leftovers here, orange, red. So I'm adding this orange, red into my database. So it will calculate orange while formulating. So here I can limit my leftover quantity. If I want to limit my leftover quantity, I can make 10 kilogram only, or like that you can limit your leftover quantity. So then simply click next. Go for the regular formulation. So it is formulating the colors. If it is showing a slow, because there are many recipes out there, that's why it little delay here. See, it is formulated. So I have more than 20 recipes for a single color. If it comes to a manual mixing, you will get only one recipe. So here, like in the theory session, we explained, here in this window, you can select your recipe based on different delta equations. Here it is delta 2000, delta 976, and the price, number of components, and spectral deviation. So there are many sorting criteria. So depends upon customer and their requirement. Some clients will not agree, or if you want to reduce the cost of your production, select the less cost one from this list. And just click on finish. So here you can see the recipes. You can click on to the next to see the other recipes. So this is what we finalize recipe. So before finalizing recipe, there are many other ways to find out that your recipe is perfect or not. There is a graphical representation of your recipe. It will tell you how far it is on different light sources. It will show you the metamerism values and the reflectance curve. So here you can see the red color indicating our target and the recipe indicating the blue color. So it is showing a minor fluctuation in 600, 700 nanometer region. If it is not stable and it is showing a frequent fluctuations, this recipe is not suitable for our formulation. So graphically, you can make sure how your colors looks in a different light condition and the reflectance curve. So this is very important. If you considering manual mixing, we cannot think about metamerism or the spectral reflectance, anything, just based on the experience of mixer. So once you finalize, so I have finalized this recipe, and next step is we have to proceed for the mixing. So usually we will mix a 10 gram to ensure the recipe is right or not. So I'm just entering 10 gram here. So in this, you can select gram, liter, like that. So I'm selecting 10 gram here. Once you select the 10 gram, you can simply print the recipe, and you can give the recipe to your ink assistant or the ink person. So this is a recipe with the number. So this and out of 10 gram. So let's print. Let's mix this ink. So at present, I cannot see a practical. I cannot show you a practical mixing. I have a video of practical process. I will show you that. So you can add, if you have any questions, you can add on the chat window. We will get back to you with the answer on the end of this session. So in this video, we will show you how to generate how to finalize a recipe. So we have to, this is a printout of our recipe, and we have to select these things. We have to label it properly to avoid the mistake with the proper number. Next thing, we have to use it. So weigh in balance. We always recommend 4-digit weighing balance. So it will ensure that digits are perfect, the values are perfect. So it's purely mathematical and spectral values. So you will get a very good recipe. So from this weighing scale, we can take the inks. We are recommending a glass slab like this. So you can put the inks into the glass slab. So the same way, you can take all the colors, and here it is because of the pasting, I'm using spatula. If it is a liquid ink, we can use a small stirrer or a pipette. Mix these inks properly, all the ingredients. So once you mix, next step is how to take taking a drawdown. There's a pipette called, this is a pipette used to transfer into the drawdown machine. This is the best scientific way of ink mixing with the proper values and the calculation. Everything is based on a standard. Once you transfer the IGT C1 mission, it is simulating same as offset mission. So the entire drawdown process will take 1 minute process, and only 1 minute process for the drawdown. You can set the pressure, depends upon your material.
Pramod, your voice is a little bit breaking. Please keep your headphones close to you.
Okay, yeah, it's because of this video, the audio and the. I think now you can hear me well. Yeah. So this way we can take the drawdown. So this result will almost same as an offset print. It will exactly, we can match the same print with the offset. So this IFS is not only just a drawdown, it is considering coating. If it is a lamination, you can laminate it and calculate the colors. If it is a water-based coating, you can apply water-based the same way. You can use a bar coater and we can apply the water-based as well. So all these coating considering for the ink recipe. So this way we can dry it using a hair dryer. So we can apply a coating. We can do a visual comparison, and we can use a spectrophotometer to compare the color accuracy. So this best match window I was showing on the last session. So here we can select our target 1505. On this device also we can load Pantone live library. So this way we can measure. Now we will measure the color. Yeah, so it is showing a delta F 1.06 and the best match 0.73. So if we are not happy with that result, you can simply come to the software and you can do a correction over here. So to correct a recipe, you can click this symbol. So it will ask you to define the current mixture. It will give you a correction of recipe on a simple click. So once you finalize, you can give this recipe for the bulk mixing. So simply you can convert into kilogram or liter. So I'm converting into 10 kilograms, so it will convert it into 10 kilogram. So this way you can simply convert the values into kilograms. So once you finalize the recipe, either you can mix manually. So in the grinder, if you can use a grinder and you can mix manually, or if you have a dispensing system, you can simply send this data into dispensing system. So here there is an option to send the data to dispensing system. Click this data, so it will go to the dispensing system. So here you can select your dispensing system. There are a list of dispensing systems are here. There are many major brands of all the dispensing systems are included in IFS. If it is not included, you can select universal badging system. It will communicate with your badging system. So this way you can send this data to the info dispensing system. So once you finalize, you can save this recipe with the particular folder. You can add the customer name here and you can save the recipe. So it is saved into a database. You can take it later as well. So after 2 or 3 months, you are getting the job repeat. You can take the same recipe. You don't want to work around all those things. Just proceed for the production. So here, when it comes to Flexo, we have to select the Flexo database. So I have a Flexo database here. Some selected Flexo database. So now we can formulate color over here. So the same way I'm selecting a target from the solid coated of Pantone Live library. I'm just selecting a Pantone 2315. So here also we have to define the substrate, what we did then in the offset. The formulation part is same for offset and Flexo. Only the difference is we have to define a thickness factor. So here, based on your analogs, so most of the case what we understand whenever we are visiting a site, or Flexo site or a Gravure site, their main issue is it is very difficult to match with analogs. Now IFS is not like that. It is considering analogs. If you have different analogs, you can add different analogs here and you can select those analogs. It will calculate based on analogs. I will show you how to add this parameter. So select the analogs, click next, select the ink, and here also you can add leftovers. So I'm selecting leftover. So just formulate it. The same way you can see the delta E and price, number of components, all those things. Finished. So here in the recipe you can see my leftover ink is using almost 40%. If you are using this way, you can consume all of your leftover and you will not find any leftover in your production. The same way we did in offset, we can mix this for the 10 gram. So I will show you how to mix a 10 gram. So I have a video of Flexo. When it comes to liquiding from the recipe, we are taking the printout. So here we are using a cup, a plastic cup to mix the color. So there's a plastic pipette also. So we are taking the ink using the pipette. So this way you can take the inks and all the components we can add in this way. So either you can mix manually with a pipette or better to use a small stirrer, small laboratory stirrer to mix the ink. So this is IGT G1. It is for the Gravure printing. So it is same like our production machine. There is a cylinder with various cell volumes engraved and a doctor blade with a particular angle and the substrate carrier. So here also you can set the force based on your printed material, based on your material, and we can adjust the speed over here. We can adjust the speed over here. Now we can add the ink in between the doctor blade and the cylinder. This cylinder is engraved with various cell volume. So we can match these cell volume, either we can match this cell volume with your production analogs, or we can directly correlate with your production analogs. So once you see this way, we can take a drawdown. The same way what we did in offset, we can compare in the basic compare window, and we can compare the LAB values and the delta E. So this is the way formulating a flexo inks. So the same way you can save recipe here. If you want to compare these values with a quality software, you can send this data into quality software. So here in the settings, there's a communication tab. In the communication tab, you can communicate these data with color icon role or ColorCert, color quality, any of this software, and you can define the input output path here. So once you finalize, you can send the data to the software. So if you click, it will ask you recipe to ColorCert. So we can send this recipe to ColorCert. So you can open this recipe on the ColorCert and you can compare. If you are not happy with the ColorCert result, you can send it back to the IFS and you will receive the request over here. So the request you can take and you can reformulate it immediately. So I will show you another important thing, because I told in between the main headache of a flexo industry, there are different analogs, and match those analogs to the InkFormulation system is very difficult. So here we have a simple text system. If you go to the database, there is an option thickness objects. Click on thickness object. Here you can add the analogs. For example, I'm adding an analog with 400 LPI and 4.5 cell volume BCM. This way you can name it properly. Then go to the select the printing method, flex or web printing, and go to the calibration. Here you can select which database you want to calibrate. So here I'm calibrating Phoenix water-based flexo database. Click on next. There are two options. Either you can use automatic way of calculating the thickness. To calculate those thickness, we have to print any one or two combinations from this list. You can take 2% of warm red and 98% of transparent white, mix it and print it over the machine. So those data you can take back into the software and you can measure and feed. Or you can enter manually by using the existing recipe. For example, if you select automatic, so I'm selecting substrate coated, it will ask you which combination you have. So for example, I have 5% magenta printed, 5% and 95% transparent white printed on your machine with a 400 LP analog. So just measure that value. So based on this value, it will calculate the thickness. See, you have to make these settings 126.95% thickness on your software, then only it will produce the right color as the analogs printed. So this is very important feature. You can add several analogs. Now I added 400 LP, 4.5 BCM, and with the 126.95% thickness. And the same way you can add 300 or 700 the analogs which you have. So same like the calibration process or standardization process. During the implementation of InkFormulation software, we will use this feature as well. We will use this calibration method to match with your analogs.
We've just got 5 minutes left, Pramod.
Yeah, thank you, Martin, for the reminder. So if I think I almost cover everything. If you have any doubts, just put it on the chat window. And other important thing is, if you need a online or on-site demo, if it is online demo, we can show you the real mixing. Or if you require a on-site demo, just let us know. You can share us a mail, or you can send us a mail. We will arrange a online demo. So I think I covered everything. So let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Pramod. Martin, Malgo.
That was excellent. Thank you very much, Pramod. That was a really, really good. And thank you, Afzal, as well. Can we ask if you've got any questions at this stage, that you can put them in the chat window so we can answer your questions while we're on here? Has anybody got any questions that you want to ask following the two presentations?
I think we have question here. Hello, everybody. We have question. Can we calculate the GSM of ink will be transferred to the substrate?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can calculate. There are multiple options to calculate GSM of transferring inks. One is during the drawdown time. I will show you. I will come to the video again. Just want to show you. So here during the drawdown, we are using a printing disk. So this disk is having a specific measurement calculation. So once you load the ink, so measure the weight before drawdown and measure the weight after drawdown. So we will get a drawdown with a specific area, and based on this area, we can calculate the ink consumption or ink GSM for a particular area. So in this paper, the print length and width is 3.5 centimeter width and a length of 20 centimeter. So based on that, you can calculate the GSM of ink. This is the one method.
Thank you, Pramod. We have a next question. How can we measure color in materials with different surface tension?
So can you explain the question again?
How can we measure color on materials with different surface tension?
Different surface tension.
Yeah, the question, Pramod, is how can you measure on materials which has different surface tension? I think are they asking about the material color or the color which is laid down on the material with different surface tension?
So normally in this window, if you come to the substrate window, we have several options here. So here you can define the type of substrate. So basically the surface tension we mostly calculated in the Dane values. So that is around 38 to 42 for the printing all of the films is coming. So otherwise, if you are considering the surface texture and all that, it will consider while you measuring over here. If it is uncoated or coated or transparent film, opaque film, all those parameters is considering on this tab.
I would say that I think that question should be taken as with a separate session, because maybe we'll have to understand what exactly they're asking and reply to it. Malgo.
Yeah, it's possible to answer questions after, because you can write the question and come back to the.
Yeah.
We have a next question. And considering flexo printing process, what will be the viscosity when the ink is cooked? It means prepared probably. Considering flexo printing process.
I will show you that. Actually, that is a missing part of my presentation. Thank you for reminding that. So it's a very good question as well. So here in the formulation, we can add basic ink and solvent. So once you come to the formulation of flexo inks, so this is a water based ink. So it is showing the water this much gram for the viscosity of 22 seconds. So this is based on 22 seconds. So here we can if your assortment having viscosity curve, you can change the viscosity. So if you change the viscosity 23, 24 or less viscosity, it will adjust the water. So it is showing you the amount of water, which means solvent you want to add.
Also, when you're creating the assortment database, we also include the viscosity factor as well.
Yeah, it's called viscosity curve.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can also explain this separately. We understand your question. We have the answer for that. Might be when we know who's asked this question, we can take them separately and also answer these questions in detail. Yeah.
Right. I think we better wrap it up there, gentlemen, because it's past our time now. I'll just go first. So on behalf of I'll say from X Rite, I'd just like to thank everybody for their attention and their time. It's very much appreciated at this time. And from X Rite, thank you very much. Afsal?
Martin, I think there is some poll. There is some poll from Malgo. Malgo, can you take over?
Yeah. Thank you very much. We prepared some questions together with Phoenix. If you could please answer this question by clicking on the right answer. This question will appear on your screen, and simply click on the question, on the answer which you would like to which you would like to choose for this question. This is the first one. Please click simply on the answer. You have 30 seconds for that. Please click on it. Hopefully you can see. This is a very simple, very simple question. Okay, thank you. The next question. Give us 30 seconds again. Okay, thank you. There is the next question, please. Okay, we have a next question. Another 5 seconds. Okay. Next question, please. Probably, Afzal, you can explain a bit if somebody.
Yes, basically what we are asking is when you make a spot color for a new design, do you have to stop the press, do some corrections in the base colors, or you have to change the analogs, etc. So this is what we are asking for.
Question?
Do you have leftover inks in your factory? How much is there, and is it an area of concern where you think, yeah, how I wish if I can use them and reduce them to almost none?
These are issues and problems which can be simply solved with ink formulation, and it is the reason why we ask that. Okay. And last question for you.
We can do this online as Pramod informed, or we can do it in our office in Dubai. You're most welcome to visit us to see a live demo of flexo, offset, or gravure ink formulation and the drawdown and everything. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . .
I would like to thank you very much for answering our questions, and it's
Thank you.
your
Thank you,
now,
Mal.
Afzal and Martin.
Yeah, Martin.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, I jumped in a bit early there, didn't I, before the polls? But yeah, so on behalf of X Rite, I'd like to thank you all for attending and taking the time. It's very, very much appreciated. And please do get in touch with Phoenix if you've got any questions at all. And thank you very much from X Rite. Afzal?
Thank you very much, everyone. Really appreciate your participation in between your busy schedules. We would like to have your feedback on these webinars which we are conducting, because our idea is to give you as much knowledge to be transferred during these webinars. Your feedback is very important, so we can adapt the content to your best requirements. Thank you very much once again. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Pramod, and thank you, Margot, and all the participants. Have a great day.
Thank you all. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.